This session covers Expedition layout for PCB design integrated with Teamcenter. As before, Teamcenter is the single source of truth for your design data. Here we have Expedition layout open, and as with the schematic, we have a filtered active workspace view inside the design tools. In the active workspace view, I can select the data I want to work on, select Open and Checkout, and it will go get the data from Teamcenter and put it into an engineering workspace. Expedition is a full Premier layout tool complete with a 3D solid modeling design, and we've shown in previous episodes how this data integrates with Siemens mechanical design tool NX. As in the previous session, I want to make a change around the pressure sensors where I know I need to add a filter component. Here I can zoom in the design area and visually to check where I want to make my changes in both 2D and 3D. And select the component and open the schematic to very quickly use cross-probing to drive the design from layout into the area of the schematic automatically where I want to make my changes. Once I am in the schematic, I can add my capacitor and nets to drive the change that I want to put into the layout. Here I just simply make a copy of a capacitor, connect a couple of nets. You'll notice as I create the capacitor, it's unassigned, so it has a reference designator of C question mark. When I place this capacitor in the schematic, it automatically identifies the change to the layout tool. And when I look in the layout tool now, you can see the status LEDs in the bottom indicating amber that there's a pending change. And it also shows in the fully defined status inside layout that a pending change is needed. I can drive this whenever I need to bring the updates just by clicking the LED that will forward annotate the design, assign reference designators, so it adds the C141, and when it's complete, both the front and back end are in sync again. You can see the layout, all green LEDs, and as well in the schematic, everything is in sync. I'm now ready to continue with my layout placement. So now that I've got the updates in, I can look at the new components. In the Component Explorer view, I can filter for the newly unplaced components that I just added in the design. That way I can focus very quickly on just the work still needed to be done. I can place that component just by grabbing it from this window, dragging it into the 2D view, and you can see it'll also show up at the same time in the 3D view. I can orient this component in whatever position I need it to, show the rat's nest connection list, and then quickly make the connections that are remaining to be done. To show one last sync connection, I'll change a ref-des numbering on that capacitor in layout. Here we're going to go in and do a renumber. I'm just going to pick that capacitor C141, make a change to the reference designator to make it C199 so that there's a pending change back to the schematic. Now we can save this change and we can see that the capacitor has changed to 199. We can review the layout status again, and it now shows me that there is a pending change back to the schematic that needs to be processed. If we then look in the schematic as well, we can also see that the schematic knows that there's a pending change to be back annotated. You can see the C141 is still set. Now we go into layout, we run a back annotate, which will push the updated ref-des numbering back into the schematic, and you can see that change happens very quickly. So we've now done all of our layout changes. We can see that everything on the layout side is green and that the schematic is also in sync with everything green. So now we are done. As before, we can now look at sending this data back into Teamcenter. Here I can use the integrated Teamcenter menu or the built-in Teamcenter menus to do the post back to the Teamcenter vault as a save, save as, derive data, or revise as we did in the schematic. If we choose save, it'll again pull up the same configuration dialogues that gives me all the data associated with this object in the main vault. I can then do the same revision control that I did before, post that back as a revision B with a check-in, and clean up my engineering workspace. Again, this is a quick overview of how Teamcenter manages your single source of truth of your digital twin from the layout tool, as well as all of the expedition tools, helps you manage your designs. Thank you.